Hello, wonderful people at the internet. Today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions book tag, so without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm currently reading through The Tower of Swallows, which is the fourth Witcher novel, and I'm roughly a quarter of the way through, so we've got quite a long time until I finish that. So we're going to have to fill up this time, these few Sundays. We're going to book tags and things like that, and I believe the second instalment of the third season of The Witcher comes out in less than 20 days, so in about 3 weeks I'll be able to do a review of Season 3 of The Witcher as well. But today, we're going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions book tag, so let's get into it. First question is, a popular book/series that you don't like. And I struggled to think about this because I haven't read many books I haven't liked, but then this one came to mind, and that is The Neverending Story by Michael Ende, which I know is a classic and revered by a lot of people, and I just didn't like it. I read it a couple of years back, and this may be a Frankenstein and I might be really wrong, but I read it a couple of years back, and about the halfway point I decided, well, this book doesn't need to be happening anymore. This book is overly long and boring now. And that was after what I believed to be the main conflict of the story was resolved, and there was still a whole other kind of sequence of events that were meant to occur, and I just thought, when's this going to end? Why is this still going? I believe Michael Ende wrote the book so that each chapter, because each chapter started with a letter of the alphabet and he wanted the alphabet. So there are 26 chapters, and I just felt eventually that it was being dragged out by the idea that these chapters were just there so that he could have his alphabet set. And maybe I'm wrong. I read it a really long time ago, and I remember thinking that the second part of the story could probably be the more interesting bit, but I just thought, halfway point, should have ended there, and then it got really boring. Second question is, a book/series that many people don't like that you love. And I chose a book for this one, and that is The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett, which is the first book in the Discworld series. And a lot of people, when you ask them, hey, how should I get into Discworld? They'll say, don't start at the beginning. Don't start with The Colour of Magic. That's not good. Don't start there. Start here instead. And I don't get it. I thought that The Colour of Magic was a really good book. I thought it was an enjoyable book that, I find it highly doubtful that people aren't going to like it and decide not to read any more after that. Sure, it's not typical of Pratchett's later style for the Discworld books, but it's not a bad book on its own, so it's not going to make people not want to read more books, in my opinion. It might not be the best representation of the full package they're getting, but it's not going to put people off, and it is a good book in its own right. I think The Colour of Magic gets a hard time, and I actually quite like it. The third one is a love triangle where the main character ends up with the person you didn't want them to. And I must confess, I don't read many romance books or watch much romance media, so I don't encounter love triangles often. But I can give an unpopular opinion still, and this is in regards to Triss versus Yen in The Witcher 3. And I'm going to just put it right out there, I'm on Team Yennefer. I don't ship Geralt with Triss at all. I mean, in the game, maybe, because in the game she's a lot nicer than she is in the books, because the game ignores several key facts, like the fact that Triss raped Geralt before the main novel series occurred. So, she's full-on sexually assaulted him, so I don't ship her with Geralt. And even in the games, Geralt's got amnesia, and instead of telling him, oh, your girlfriend and your surrogate daughter, they exist, you should go and find them, she doesn't. She, as far as I understand it, she keeps him to herself, and I'm just like, oh, how could you do that? How could you say that she is better than Yen for Geralt? Because even though Yen can be cold at times, she cares about Geralt and would never, she does hurt him occasionally, but she hasn't sexually assaulted him, so in my books, that makes her the better fit. Number 4 is a popular genre that you hardly reach for, and that would be non-fiction. I have, in recent memory at least, not read any non-fiction books. I have got a massive Hamilton book up here that I got after watching the musical, because I was like, wow, that was really good. And I don't think I'll ever read it. I mean, it's not only is it a really big book, so that's a big time commitment, I am just not interested enough in reading non-fiction, and that might be due to lack of experience, because as the way I perceive it, it's like reading a textbook, but I actually haven't read much non-fiction recently, so maybe I need to get my grippers on a shorter form non-fiction book to see whether the genre, maybe I'm not perceiving it correctly. But I'm not interested in it. I really like stories, and I like fantasy a lot, and non-fiction books feel like they, I don't know, they feel like they are a story, but I feel like it won't be the same. Maybe I should read some non-fiction. Comment down below. Number 5 is a popular or beloved character that you don't like. And I couldn't think of any book examples for this, because I like most popular characters because they're popular for a reason, but I will tell you a TV character that I do not like, and that is Walter White. Now, I know that Walter White has a massive following online. This is Walter White from Breaking Bad. Walter White has a massive following online of people saying, oh, Walter White's amazing, I love Walter. I don't like Walter. I think Walter's an arsehole. So, yeah, that's my little spicy meatball there. Walter White's a great character, but I don't like him. I don't like him at all. Question 6 is an author that you can't seem to get into, and for me that would be Neil Gaiman. Now, I have read 3 of Neil Gaiman's books. I've read Good Omens, which he co-wrote with Terry Pratchett. I've read American Gods, and I've read Coraline as well. And I like Coraline. Good Omens was okay, but I didn't like it very much, really. And then, and American Gods, which I loathed. I didn't like American Gods at all, and it got to the point where I was forcing myself to read 100 pages a day so I could just get it done, because I didn't want to DNF it. It was, I don't know exactly what it is about him, but just from there, I know that he's very popular, and American Gods is meant to be one of his better books, and I just didn't like it. Maybe I should try him some more. 7 is a popular book trope that you're tired of seeing. Now, I couldn't think of any popular book tropes that I don't like. Like, a popular book trope is there's the wise old mentor / wizard character, and I love wise old mentors. I love Gandalf, I love all these characters, so I can't think of any popular tropes that I just don't like seeing, but I can think of an unpopular trope that I do like seeing, and that is the chosen one trope. I don't mind chosen ones as much as some people do, as some people seem to hate chosen ones, and I don't mind them. In fact, I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do with a chosen one. You can set out a prophecy and see how that prophecy dictates how a person grows, how the expectations that people have for them influence them. I think that can make for a really interesting story, and maybe I just haven't read enough of the fantasy genre for that to be, for me to be at the point where it's like, not another chosen one, because for me it's, in fact, I can't remember any recent chosen one. I mean, I'm reading The Witcher. That's a stupid thing to say. I'm reading The Witcher, which does have a prophecy / chosen one in, but it's not in the way that you could say that Harry Potter is a chosen one story, if that makes sense. So, Number 8 is a popular book / series you have no interest in reading, and that is The Memoirs of Lady Trent, which I read the first book of, which was A Natural History of Dragons, last year, I think, and I was going to do a review of it and didn't end up doing one. But I didn't like that book. I thought it was kind of dull, and I didn't like the writing style of it either. I kind of thought, oh wow, this is going to be all about dragons and their anatomy and stuff, and there wasn't that much about dragons in it. Like dragons were the main source of the motive of the plot and things like that, but as far as there were dragons in the story and like the things about dragons in the story, there just wasn't much of it. And so, combined with the fact that I didn't dig the writing style, I don't really want to pursue that series any further. But I know that it's really well loved, and maybe this is another one I need to look into a bit more. And 9 is a movie or TV show adaptation that is better than the book, and this is the spiciest meatball yet. Actually, this is a hot take that is gonna probably make a lot of people angry, and that is The Lord of the Rings. I think that the Lord of the Rings films are better than the books. Now, I started reading / watching The Lord of the Rings when I was 9 or 10, I think, and I watched all of the films, and I loved all of the films, and these are long films, these are bulky, 3-hour-long chonksters that, it would be perfectly normal to find hard to get through, but I loved them, and I watched them over and over again, and I tried reading the books, and I got through The Hobbit, I got through The Fellowship of the Ring, I got through The Two Towers, and then I started reading The Return of the King, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I burned out, and I didn't want to do it anymore, because Tolkien is a very long-form writer, and he's very detailed and meticulous in his world-building, and I think the writing in my copies of the books was really small as well, so on a physical level it wasn't very fun to read, but just from my experience of the books and the films I found were more enjoyable, and just great films in their own right. And I'm not disregarding The Lord of the Rings, because I know The Lord of the Rings is, Tolkien is the grandfather of fantasy, and he's amazing, and what he did in The Lord of the Rings was amazing. I'm just saying that I enjoy the films more, but I do intend to read the books again soon. I say soon, probably not anytime soon, but at some point, and then my opinion might change, but as of now, I think The Lord of the Rings films are better. Okay, so those are my unpopular opinions. Sorry that I don't have a book review or discussion to get to you as of now, but I'm reading A Tower of Swallows as much as I can each day. I'm squeezing it in, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really good. So I'll get a review to you at some point, and it's going to be a happy review. It's going to be a gushy review, hopefully, as long as everything goes okay. So I'll see you all next week, where I'll be talking about something, and until then, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye.